Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about some geometry basics. Our basic three things that we talk about in our in talking about geometry is our points, lines, rays, and planes. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about line segments when we're talking about lines as well. We'll add those in just in just a few minutes. So let's talk about our point. Okay, our little dot right here, that's our point. We're labeling it as C. It has absolutely no dimensions. It has no height, no width, no depth, no length, none of it. Okay, it is just a tiny, microscopic, below microscopic point in space. Okay, it has no dimensions. So when you're looking at some of your papers in the quizzes, tests, worksheets, or anything that you're going to get, some ways that they're going to look at it, they're going to call, if you get a shape here, this right here, that would be a point, and they'll call that A. Okay, and sometimes they will call here, they'll call this one B, just a point on it as they go through it. So when you look at your worksheets, you'll see where it says, could say like this, point P, or it could just say point P. It could do it in several different ways. You could see it graphically like this, word problem or something along that. It's like point P or point P. It could look at it in many different ways with that. Again, no dimensions, one letter to label it for that. When we talk about a line, as you can see, that's what a typical line would look like. It has one dimension and it has length. We can't measure that length because it goes to infinity in two different directions, in two opposite directions as well. We can't measure its length because it goes to infinity, but you will see a line and it's represented like that. You'll see a line, and we'll call this one C and D here. Okay, so when you see it in a problem, it'll look like this, a little arrow up on top, and we'll call that one line CD. They could actually refer to it as line CD in any of those particular occasions. Okay. Now, I mentioned the fact that we can't measure the length of a line, okay? But I also, occasionally, we are going to need to know the length of something, okay? And that's where we start talking about a line segment, okay? A line segment is just a version of a line that has two endpoints. There are no endpoints in a line. It goes to infinity in that direction. That's why that arrow's there, and it goes to infinity in that direction. That's why that arrow's there. But a line segment would basically cut this off right here at C and at D. So we would put that as just a simple line there, no arrows on either side of that, CD. And I can find the length of that. I can't find the length of this one, but I can find the length of just that part of it from C to D. Okay, hopefully that's clear. Again, that would be line segment. Notice the difference in these two graphics, the line with the arrows and the segment without the arrows. Okay, and they could call it segment CD as well. Okay. Our third one we'll talk about is a ray. Now you'll notice that the ray looks a little bit different than a line. Okay. You'll notice it only has one arrowhead. Okay. It has one dimension. It is in length. It is a one-dimensional figure. It does have one endpoint, but it does not have two endpoints. Okay. Without it having two endpoints, I cannot find the length of it. It has one endpoint and then it goes to infinity from there. All right, so we can't find that length. We can find it like we would with a segment. We'd only need to cut part of it off there. But, so our ray here, we got ray DE, just like I had over there, ray DE. Okay, so how would I see that on a worksheet? Okay, I would have this, ray DE. Okay, we could call it ray DE. Okay, we would not call it ray ED. Now, up here with this line up here, I could call this line DC. I could call it line DC because the line goes in opposite directions to infinity. So it doesn't really matter. And I could use this segment and I could use segment DC if I wanted to. Okay. I cannot do that with a ray. Okay. A ray specifically starts here and goes through, specifically here at point D, and goes through point E. So it starts at D and runs to E. Okay, I cannot go this way and have that arrow and go ED. If I did that, that one looks like this. That's from point E through point D. Okay, and that is not the same as that one. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty clear on that. Our last one that we're going to talk about, our math basics, point, line, ray, and plane is the plane, okay? And it has two dimensions because a plane is like a wall. Like you see my board right here. It has two dimensions. It has height and it has width. It does not have any depth because I'm writing right on the surface of it. So there's no depth to it. So it's only two dimensions, okay? So our length, width, and height, we're going to use two of the three. It's never using all three, okay, because that would become a three-dimensional figure, which we're not dealing with at this point, okay? F, G, H, and I would be the plane that they have it. In problems, they would set it up with maybe a little parallelogram here, and they would call it F, G, H, I. Okay, now in this one, as long as they are going around the shape in the same direction to put the letters in the same order, it doesn't matter which order they go. So they could go F, G, H, I, F, I, H, G. They could go G, H, I, F. They could go H, I, F, G. It doesn't really matter. Okay, there's no true direction to this like there is with a ray for that. So you'll see that. There are occasions where you will see them have a plane where they'll have a line in the middle of it for that, maybe a point over here, and they'll call this one X, and they'll call this one Y, and they'll call this one point Z, and then they'll have a little letter in the corner, okay? Maybe it's an M, maybe it's an N, maybe it's an L or something like that. But that right there is the name and the way that they're going to label that particular plane. They'll have a little thing up in one of the corners, okay? A lot of times it's in script, so just pay attention for that if they don't tell you exactly the specific name of that plane, okay? Thank you.